Well, hello everybody. It is Monday afternoon. It's about almost 4:25 p.m. my time, Eastern time. I am here watching my grandson Nathan play. There he is, right there. He doesn't have the ball. He is actually trying to take the ball away from him. Number 12. And the reason I decided to do that is because this weekend during the live stream, Mike Cheney was actually in the background, and I mentioned something, and he immediately came on, started answering questions from people, and he is working on version 140 of Print Prism. And what does that entail? Well, basically, it adds a extra set of scans to the actual scanning process. So the more scans, the more accuracy you get under certain conditions. And he didn't want to get into all the details, but basically he is also adding a bit more time between scans, and that helps. That was causing a problem with my 8550, and he introduced that, and immediately it got fixed. So he's going to continue doing that. Increase it just a little bit longer. What does that mean? Oh, it's going to take about a minute longer to perform the complete scan, and then you do your your profile creation. That's about another 2 to 3 minutes. It used to take me at least half an hour to do a manual scan with my spectrophotometer of a much smaller chart. So the charts that we are using for Print Prism contain nearly 9,000, I think it's more than 9,000 little tiny patches. The software is a miracle. It can actually detect each one of those little tiny squares, put a selection marker right in the middle, and then it detects what color that should have been, and then decides, well, how far off was the 8550 print of that tiny little square, and that's one in over 9,000 of them. And then it will do the correction. It then compiles all of those corrections, and boom, you have a profile that is, according to many other people, better than the OEM profile provided by paper manufacturers. And the reason for that is they are using a particular printer out of a batch of thousands. They're using that one printer to give you what should be a universal profile. Well, there is no such thing. Each printer, a batch, let's just say that gets approved, will output within a relatively small margin of error, but it's not identical. You get the best results if you simply use your own printer and create your own profiles. You're creating a profile for that printer. Whatever output level within that margin of error it is, that's what it's doing. It is correcting specifically for that profile. It is also taking into account the specific batch of ink. Inks are not absolutely identical, batch after batch after batch. Okay, keep that in mind, especially if you decide to use third-party inks. Now, the paper batch, of course, every giant roll of paper could be slightly different. So you are creating a profile for a batch of, say, 10,000 boxes of paper that came out. Those came out of one roll. Yeah, they're all going to be identical, but at least you're creating a profile for the batch of paper you own, not the batch of paper they use to create the profile they're calling OEM. You see what I'm getting at? So the best possible results, the highest level of accuracy is going to be from you creating your own profile and not someone else. So also the accuracy of this new version 140 that's coming out this week basically has to do with, like I said, more scans, and also the ability to wait a little bit longer between scans. That allows the way he explained it was something about the scanner. It needs a few seconds to rest, okay, before it begins to scan the next pass over that gigantic 9,000 patch print that you made using Q image. Now, Q image is absolutely, really necessary to also own, because when you print those patches, that single print containing all the tiny thousands of patches, it has to be done in absolute raw form. Okay, no color management either in the driver or by the application you're printing from. In this case, you're printing out a Q image. You tell it to use off, OFF. And that way it will print it absolutely raw. If you try to do that in Photoshop, it's not going to be the same. If you try to do that in Lightroom, again, it's not going to be the same. You have to use QImage or print from an app that allows you to print without any kind of color management at all. When you're using a spectrophotometer software and you got to then hand scan all those patches, it is actually printing it with no color management, of course, only if you manually choose that in your driver. But when it creates that file, and then when it is scanning it, is doing it in raw form. But using a spectrophotometer is the biggest pain in the you know what. I know that for a fact. And I really, if it wasn't for if it wasn't for Print Prism, I would be creating a lot lower number of profiles than I normally used to do with my spectrophotometer, which is worth over $1,500. That is the selling price. Okay. And the newer one, version 3, even more. This is X-Rite i1 Pro 1, 2, or 3. I have number 2. So anyway, now I am using Print Prism religiously. $35. I mean, come on. Now you already own an 8550 or a Canon G620 or a myriad of other Epson and Canon printers that have built-in scanners. By golly, why aren't you producing your own profiles when for $35 you can just begin doing that, and the results are amazing. All right, so I think they finished the practice. Let me see what's happening over there. Yep, I think they're congregating, and Mr. Nguyen, their coach, is going to give them a little chat, possibly. We are at Nathan's school. There's the church right there, and the school is right behind me where I am parked right here. So again, thank you so much, everyone. This was impromptu. As soon as I get the profile the Print Prism notice for version 140, I will download it, I will install it, and then we will proceed. What I told Mike is that, Mike, do I really have to rescan all of my previous charts? And I have about 30 of them. And he said, well, you don't have to, but I told him, well, Mike, you know me, I am going to rescan everything. That way, every profile that I create, and I'll just overwrite the existing ones, will be at the most top level of quality. What you intended after your all day yesterday working on this, what you intended to be. So I will go ahead and rescan everything, and it'll be fabulous. Again, I told him also that at this point, a ton of effort will create one drop of extra quality or extra accuracy. Diminishing returns, I believe they call that. But regardless, I am so glad that he is so into this and making sure that we have the best product we can possibly get. So that's going to be it. I will be back as soon as I get the notice for the new version. I will install it live, and we'll proceed to scan and test a few of the new profiles and see how they perform. And we'll likely use the 8550, maybe the Pro 1000 as well. I also have a Pro 100 brand new set up with OEM inks. I'm wondering what those will look like. Remember, PCSC inks are actually better color output than original OEM inks for the Pro 100. So we'll do both. I have a set of cartridges already preloaded with the PCSC inks. All right, that'll be it for now. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And until the next time, make sure you hit the like button at the video level, okay? not just in Facebook, please go to the channel and like the videos that I upload. If you love them, yeah, even leave a little, I think it's called hype. If you write a comment, you will be able to access the hype button and just hype the video. This is something brand new they incorporated, and that will give the video a little bit more exposure. All right, enough of that, about that. They're congregating, getting ready to be dismissed. So we'll see you the next time. Bye bye, everyone.